Yo, what's up guys? Today video toying around with a LD5 that actually I think most people do not even know what it does. If you have it, might be underrated as well. Sure, it's not really in the current state where I would say it's really good, but it might be an underrated unit nevertheless. So we're talking about the Dark Twin Angels. Skill set that it has, skill 1 is the little bit of boost, skill 2 is immunity for all allies for 2 turns. It used to be 1 turn, now it is 2 turns, which is kind of a buff where I would say like, this is not the buff I would have liked to see on this unit, because there's actually a different buff that I really would have liked to see. Third skill will be filling up the ally attack bar by full, which is definitely pretty nice. I guess it's just 100%, it doesn't necessarily say 100%, but I assume filling it means 100%. On the other side, we do have, once again, a attack bar decrease, same as all of the other ones have. S2 has the Shadow Shot, and the S3 is the interesting one, which has a 3-turn death break, but it is a double hit of 50% to actually land that, which is a little bit on the lower side of odds of actually landing. I would have rather had a triple shot of landing a double turn armor break than the other way around. And that is kind of what I would like to see for the buff, or just this activation rate going up. The light one actually did get its activation rate up from 50% to 70%, whereas the dark one just got the buff of getting extra immunity, which is kind of weird for the kit. It kind of makes more of like a longer time bruiser-ish unit. But you can do some interesting things, because in the end, you do have a full attack bar plus armor break setup. Sure, the immunity and that kind of stuff for an arena offense is not going to be that interesting. Currently, I'm playing on the account of V Mazino. Thank you very much for letting me showcase your account and this unit. Also want to mention that this account is not that old yet. It's just 197 days, and he has some cool stuff already. Because let me show you what kind of offense he told me to use, which is exactly this. Which is actually one of the very few things that can fully replace a Nefty's team in the way how I normally use Nefty's. Sure, I would say that you probably have to make your Chiwa a little bit faster to not get cut. He has a triple fight set on this, which is pretty interesting as well. But the fun fact is, because you have this unit with a full attack bar, you can make your 4th unit get full attack bar on 0 attack bar, which is pretty interesting as well, especially if you're looking at things that tend to do not that much damage, but then have a good passive, such as, for example, a Humble. Also, for 200 days in, this is a pretty nasty fight with will set, I would say. Like, wow, damn, this is actually pretty nasty set itself. Yeah, that's definitely not bad at all. Sure, I will also test this, of course, without the talisman, because you might say like, hey, this is going to be a talisman showcase. We do also have a version that is this one, which would be without the talisman, which is also the team I would recommend to rune without the talisman if you were to plan using something like this. Issue is, you are lower rates on that armor break on that skill 3, which is a little bit the sad part. But let's see how it works, because I think it is actually a pretty interesting unit. Would it be useful in Siege? I'm not sure if it's really a Siege unit. Maybe a little bit more of a bruiser unit in Siege. It's still, you have the immunity for the longer runs. Doesn't have any form of healing, which would also help him out a little bit. So I think the skill 3s work really well together, but the skill 2s are kind of like on a weird position for that unit. But then again, if you have a unit like Talisman that only needs to armor break one thing and then you can kind of clear everything already anyways, that is definitely a way to do it. That is absolutely a way to do it. Can we hit Amduits? No, we cannot. That is definitely one of those you do not want to hit. This would kind of be testing the limit of how much damage you can do. What kind of lead you had? I thought it had attack lead for a second, but no, it doesn't. Also, for sure, in this case, Talisman is absolutely the best option. If you do want to go for any different unit, I think Hongyong is probably pretty good. Or you could go into like Adriana, but then you need a lot more speed tuning going in the first place. But I kind of like the idea of, yeah, being able to boost something up and armor break at the same time. But as you can see, there was no activation rate on this Byunchil, so that might be pretty bad over there. I do think we were to... Okay, we do still do a good amount of damage, but since there was no armor break on this thing, that's bad. That's real bad. At least we have a distraction for Camillas with this unit over there. But yeah, now it's kind of the thing. Sure, we can boost up and then Shadow Shot. But the immunity in here, like, would immunity really be that useful? No, not really, right? That's kind of the thing. It's like, yeah, cool and all, but we don't really need that all too much. Like, sure, we could have done immunity to not get that in, but I think the extra bar on this unit probably helps out a little bit more. You also do have to push back on the skill 1. Now, the big question is, do we crit? We do crit, but okay, that's not the worst of bounces. Do we have add damage on this? We do have add damage on that, so we make that work. So yeah, in general, I think it is a nice unit if it had that extra activation rate on that skill 3. Or even if it was like, if it's a triple hit to get a double turn armor break, it would be a lot nicer. Because now it's kind of in the position like, where do you really need a triple turn armor break in a nuking fight? Because I would say that it's more of like a booster on a nuking unit. Because if you're gonna make this useful in RTA, you're gonna make your one unit in RTA super freaking slow, but then your booster gets like banned out. Sure, I definitely do think that if people have multiple LD5s, they can definitely build a cleave team around it, because in the end, in cleave teams in general, you want to have units that do multiple things at the same time. You don't just want to go for a galleon because that is your armor breaker. Then you kind of want to have something that does two things, and this is definitely one of those that does two things. But then again, is it going to be enough? I don't know. I could see this work with like a Lucifer kind of cleave. Something in there, I could definitely see his potential as like the armor break for a Lucifer kind of cleave. But then again, an Eludia or something, if we're talking LD5s anyways, would probably do a lot better. But yeah, I kind of like this team. I definitely do like this team. Let's check out the other version with the Hongyang. I do think that I have to completely switch the runes for the talisman to the Zyros. Yeah, that's pretty much what he told me. So let's look at a more free-to-play option. So we're going to take your runes over here. And we're going to take your runes, which is going to be way too high on crit rate. I do know that point, but just for the sake of not having to switch too much, we're going to put the full set of this over here. You could argue that you don't really need will runes on this, because this team is somewhat made to always outspeed anyway. So the will runes on it are a little bit less important in this case. For artifacts, we're just going to equip whatever artifacts this game thinks are useful. That's okay. That's actually sense. Right, no, that's actually sense making artifacts both sides, because the things that we would be looking for is minus water, attack increasing is okay, and then recovery 3 and minus crit damage. Not bad as well. Actually, does make sense for a change. Not bad, Comptos. Not bad. Not bad. But yeah, if you're using these units, I definitely do think that these are some of your options you could go for to start using this. You could, of course, also do this with a Tiana. Would probably then go for, let's say, these two units into Adriana Tiana, and you go from there. But let's see in this case, do we do enough damage? We did do enough damage, except the one unit we did not armor break. Then, of course, the talisman is a lot better at that sense. But I could say, rather than using a Zyros in here, you could also use an Alicia, because Zyros is definitely going to be over damaging. Like, Zyros does that much damage that you don't need a 1 HP Zyros to make this work, right? So you could be looking at units that could be 1 HP and still do enough damage. So let's say an Alicia skill 3 into skill 2. You can definitely add in enough damage if you would play it this way. Other units that you might think of, well, there's like probably like a lot of nukers that you could think of. Hanwoo also would be a lot more interesting in this sense. I think this is one of the few ways where you can properly use Hanwoo. Issue, however, is if you miss that armor break, a Hanwoo is not that great for the cleanup, because Hanwoo actually needs to kill things to be useful. Otherwise, he's like, yeah, nice that you tried, but yeah, having to do like 84k Zyros is not needed. Not needed at all. Wait, is that the guy that pretty much called himself the same thing as... wait, that's actually the first time I see that. That's pretty funny. But yeah, in this case, Zyros is hella overkilling because we have a Zyros at 0 speed. And that's kind of what this unit does enable, is getting a unit in with 0 speed. Because you can see all of the HP bars, or like all of the bars on the other things being so much lower. And it will still get my turn in. Issue is this one will not get armor break for sure right now, which is a little bit difficult. If I also start missing some other things, I landed everything else. So in the end, okay, did not reset that. Okay, that's where it gets a little bit more difficult. Let's see if the immunity kind of kicks in where it would be more interesting right now. Shadow Shot could be nice if it does land. Did land in this case. We have an armor break on ourselves over there. This thing is also buffed to always crit on the S2, which adds in a little bit more damage. It's not going to be that much, but it is simply a little bit more. Zyros, can we get some hits in? Not bad, not bad. I'm not sure what these bolt is of this thing. Plus, you can constantly keep boosting the Zyros or any damage dealer you have with the skill 1 of this thing as well. So I think for a later bruiser fight, it's probably not the best, but it's definitely also not the worst. Okay, in this case, it's kind of awkward to boost him with an S3 because he already had full bar, so we're definitely not going to be doing that. 3-turn armor break is something that sticks pretty long, so that part is pretty nice. But in this case, we will have a rotation where Zyros is pretty much low bar, so we can actually boost him fully, so it still helps out. Oh yeah, I kind of can see the usage of it. Would I really use it on my account that much where I already have like a Nephthys armor break and that kind of stuff? Probably not, but if you don't have any other LD5s that you're using for your arena rush or arena hits in general, this might be the one that you might be thinking of, like, hey, wait, I put this thing in storage, but it's actually not that bad in a team like this. Like, sure, this is taking freaking forever right now, but you kind of get the idea of it. If everything lands, everything goes pretty smooth and pretty fast, and I would say it's maybe an underrated unit, but I would still like to see him getting upgrades on his armor break on the S3. That's kind of the only thing that I would say would be nice if that was there. Can we land it? Double did not activate. Exactly what I was talking about. Thank you for showing me exactly what I was talking about. Are we gonna get stunned? Wait, how does it work if I boost myself up and then skill 1? Yeah, then you got double turn. Okay. Really that useful? I don't know. It does. Wait, no. Wait. Is that actually bad for RTA? No, that could actually be good for RTA. Now I think about it. Wait. So let's say you boost yourself, your armor break, and your immunity on the same turn. There's another unit that armor breaks and immunity on the same turn, while we're looking at one that does something kind of similar, but not really. So yeah, that's actually something you could do. So you could fill your own attack bar for, you could say like this on self, and then you're gonna armor break, and then in the next turn you're actually gonna go for the immunity. So that's actually an option you could play around with. So definitely do see it having some potential, maybe in RTA as well. It's not that much of a multi-hitter, which makes things a little bit worse as well. So yeah, I'm not really sure. Too bad it's not healing. Like if it had healing himself on, yeah, I think if these, what is the other S2 that they could have? I think the other S2 is multi-shot rather than shadow shot. Well, I think they're kind of same. Shadow shot is kind of on a low activation rate itself, so it's not really the greatest of skills. But I could see the potential of you armor breaking and then also giving immunity in the same turn as more of a fun unit rather than like an insane good unit. I would say like insane good, it's probably not going to be, but it is definitely a fun unit. So now the big question is, can this Kabila outspeed? Let's actually go back to this team, because I'm pretty sure he would like the runes back on this thing anyhow. Also, he doesn't have that many units ruined yet, not that many units bold yet, so there's not too much options to showcase this. But I'll say for 200-day account, this is a pretty insane account. It's pretty, it already has fun units, that's for sure. So in this case, I think we have to push back the Triton, otherwise we're not gonna make it work. At least I'm pretty sure, but just want to see, do we even outspeed the Triton? That could also be an issue. Nope, we do not outspeed the Triton. But does his team follow up after the Triton though? His team does follow up after the Triton. Does he land everything? He does land everything. And then you're very dead. Yeah, can't beat everything. Can't beat everything. Okay, Theon Lengths, definitely a no-go. More Tritons, no-go apparently. If you had more speed, you could definitely get away with that. If we hit this, yeah, I think so. If we land the arm breaks, if we miss the arm break on the Pontus, we probably have an issue. Wait, we're probably also going to have an issue against the Pater. No, Pater is not that fast. So as long as we strip everything and we armor break everything, I think we should be good to go. So yeah, a little bit of boost, but not enough boost. We're going to hit this. Okay, did land on the second hit on everyone, and then we're gonna double tap. Also good damage already. Wow, I like it. Well, also maybe I'm slightly biased because I'm just liking Talisman in the first place, always, ever. But yeah, let me know in the comments if this video kind of made you give the idea of maybe something you can do with your own team. Like I mentioned before, you could actually go for an armor break immunity in RTA yourself right away. Not entirely sure what you would like to pair that with, because AoE armor breaks, it's not really the meta of AoE armor breaks as it was in the past a little bit more. But I could see its potential definitely out there. I would mainly say Arena offense, really good. Siege, let's say I could see some options where you used in Siege, but then again, most of the time where you have an AoE armor break, you just want everything to die right after. So is that Horn Clear then, or Horn of Cheer really going to help that much? Probably not, but you could boost the unit in in Siege as well to be very fast. But then let's say you go for a fast Clara, fast this unit, and then you're really betting on the odds of Clara stripping this thing armor breaking, but and then you go in for an Alicia S3, S2 or something like that. It's an option, it's an option. I could definitely see some things working. Is it the best out there? Probably not really, but Clara, this thing plus a nuker, I could kind of see that work. It's not that bad. It's definitely not that bad. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Maybe you learned a thing or two about this unit, because I think this unit is not that popular at all. Most people are like, when they pause first thing, they're gonna be like, hey, I gotta look up what he does right now, because I've absolutely no clue. To be honest, I was kind of on the same page as that. Before I said like, okay, this unit is really bad, but now I see the potential. I say like, it's not bad. The main thing is just the moment that this gets upgraded to like, let's say a 70 rate or a 3 times a 2 armor break on a 50 rate, that already adds so much more activation. That would be really nice, because I don't really think you need a 3-turn debuff. Like most of the time, 2-turn debuff is more than enough. We'd rather have more activation rate of actually landing it. So Countess, if you're listening, might be a buff you might do, rather than buffing this to 2-turn immunity for I don't know what apparent reason. Either out, guys, thanks a lot for watching for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you as always in the next one. Thanks for watching. If you would like to see more guides, join the Discord and check out the content tab for the guide video archive, which contains all of the guides that you might need. Hope to see you there.